Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Zach from the ZAP podcast. I have always wanted to start a podcast, but I never knew where to start or where to even begin. And then I stumbled across the Anchor app. I love the Anchor app because it's completely free and it has all the editing and uploading capabilities that you need right from your phone. So it's super easy and super user friendly. If you've always wanted to start a podcast, go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, let's get on to the episode. All right, what's up, everyone? It's Zach, and today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with my friend Hanna Kibret. Hanna, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, and thanks for taking some time to be on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So Hanna is a recent friend of mine that I was actually able to meet her through a cool project she's doing. So Hanna is actually from Ethiopia, which is really cool. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you might remember when I had Rob Lawless on the podcast. So Hanna was actually inspired by Rob and his project. So now Hannah's has her own project that's called Encounter with Hanna, where she is on a mission to meet 100 strangers and spend an hour of time with them, getting to know them and sharing stories. So that's a little bit about Hanna, but do you kind of mind telling us a little bit more about yourself and your project?
Yeah, my project is, as you said, it's Encounter with Hanna. I was inspired by Rolo Less's Rob's 10K Friends. So I first heard about his project on Kelly Clarkson show. So I was like, it was interesting. So I went to do the same thing. That's 10,000 people is much. So I wanted to do at first 500, and I started meeting people on January 2021. So I think it's almost 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah. So I first met the first person on January 21, and I am on the 35%. That 5th person.
35. And was I
Yeah.
34?
Yeah,
34?
you are 34. Yeah.
34. Okay. Awesome. I love it. So with the project, I mean, did that require you to step out of your comfort zone, meeting new people, meeting strangers, or was that something that was always pretty easy for you to talk to strangers?
It was kind of easy. I love
Okay.
meeting people and talking to them. When I first started using Facebook, uh, I talked to people on the app, and I also meet them in person. And I have like friends from the internet. I know in real life for like 5 years, 6 years. I have friends from the internet. So we
Okay.
meet in person and we are friends, like real friends now. So that's something I always like to do, but it's not easy. Like it's I always get scared going to meet the next new person,
Yeah.
but yeah, but the pleasure is so much more than yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you just said that, it's not always easy and it can be, scary or tough to meet new people. Do you have
Yeah.
any advice for someone who maybe struggles with putting themselves out there to meet people or to talk to strangers? Do you have any advice for those individuals?
uh, yeah. Just be yourself when you meet new people. uh, Try to not think about what they, it's difficult, but what they think, and
Yeah.
just be yourself and talk to strangers like your friends. That's what I advise people.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Just be yourself and just talk to strangers as though like they're already your friend and just be nice and be kind. I think that's good advice for sure.
And be curious and ask questions. When people love when they are asked questions, and they love to talk about themselves and what they are interested about. So asking questions is the safest thing to do. You don't have to talk most of the times.
Yeah, that's a good point. Asking questions, I think, like you said, people talk about their experiences in themselves. So anytime you can kind of ask those questions, it might help just make it a little easier for the other person as well.
Yes, yes.
Definitely. So, Hannah, of course, you're out over in Ethiopia, and I'm here in the U.S. in Michigan, and I know that Rob is also in the States with me. But
Yeah.
outside of us, a lot of the people that you're meeting for your project are local to you, right?
Yes, most of them are from Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia. So one of my plans is to meet people from around my country, to
Okay.
travel around there. Maybe the next 100 people will be from like not from Addis Ababa and from around my, because there is a diverse culture and like it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you mentioned it's a diverse area. So from the people that you've met so far, the strangers you've met, would you say that everyone's kind of come from like a different background, has had different, maybe religious beliefs or upbringings? Like, has it been a pretty diverse population that you've been able to talk to?
Yes, it's been diverse and like there's a different background. And I meet students, and I meet journalists, I meet teachers, and everyone. So it's diverse from their occupational side and their background, their growing up. It's different.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's cool to get that different perspective and different backgrounds because I feel like that's when we can really learn the most.
Yes, yes, you do, and you'll be open-minded, and yeah, like you get different perspectives from everyone, and it's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Is there something that you would say that like has been the coolest or like most important thing that you've learned from your project so far?
Mm, what? Not not being judgmental. I always have it, and like most of my growing up, it's nice. So like I'm grateful for my and I'm sorry for my language. So I'm
No, you're
grateful.
okay.
I have a nice childhood, and I grew up with my family. Same, so I don't understand the people who grow up in difficulties.
Yeah.
So I almost kind of don't believe them before this. When they told me what people done to them, or like I don't know any evil people, or like people who do bad things intentionally on me. So it's difficult to understand when they told me, but now I come to realize everyone's background and experience is different, and I come to like acknowledge their experience and empathize with them. Kind of.
Yeah, I think that's super important, like we don't always share the same experiences with others,
Yeah,
but being able to understand and empathize and just realize that you know, maybe we're more grateful than we realize, or maybe that there's someone that just down the street from you had a completely different childhood and
experience.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
eye opening for me.
definitely. Well, good. It sounds like it's been a really good experience for you doing the project. And now I know that after you meet with the strangers and become friends with them and stuff, then you usually write about that experience.
Their story. I always like writing stories of people or my experience. So after I started meeting people, I talked to there's uh, someone on Twitter which is called the Habasha. So he has a website, and he told me that if I can write their story, he will publish it on his website. So I started writing their story.
Okay.
So that was that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So then have you written a story on everyone that you've met so far?
Yes, most of them.
Okay.
Yeah. The people I read, and on as I said on the thehabasha.com, there is four stories which are published on it, which is in Amharic. I will I will invite everyone to read it, but your ምንድን ነው? Your audience is not Ethiopian, so they might not understand it. Yeah,
Well, hey, maybe some of the audience might be Ethiopian and they might be able to read
yeah,
it. But
maybe. And
yeah.
there's also a magazine, like paper magazine, not digital.
Okay,
So there.
It's also in a
Yeah,
paper, you said?
yeah, it is called the Gion, and I also write for it.
Okay. Awesome. And now I think
Yeah,
I remember you said like the end goal is you kind of want to write like a book about your project. Was that did I remember that correctly?
yeah, right. I want to write a book about my everyone's story or my journey of it, or what I get from everyone's story. I don't know what it's going to be, but something related to that I want to write.
Okay. So is that like when you do hit that 100 stranger mark, that's kind of like the next steps. Like you meet the 100 people, you write about their stories, and it gets published in the paper and the website. And then the next step would be to write a book about how that whole project impacted you.
Yes, yes, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And uh, something I want to tell you is that I meet people there's someone who was a radio host, a journalist. I listened to growing up. He was like a role model to me. So I got a chance to introduce this idea for him, and I talked to him. So it was a dream come true. It was super cool.
That is awesome. I'm really glad that you had that cool experience.
Yeah, yeah. Like I listened to him growing up. Him and like his friends have a radio program. It's entertainment kind of.
Okay.
So I was very much interested in it, and I was also planning to in college. I was also planning to study journalism because of that, but I didn't. I studied sociology,
Okay.
but I also
Got it.
studied. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good. Good. That's awesome.
So that's
And
how much they're. Yeah, sorry.
no, what were you gonna say?
Continue. That's how much they impacted me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that. And I know that you mentioned with that that example that like you said that you reached out to see if you could share your idea and then meet this individual. Is that
yeah.
kind of like the process usually for your project? You might just reach out to an individual and say, "Hey, I'm doing this project. Would you like to be a part of it?" Or do people reach out to you? Is it a mix of both?
Yeah, it's kind of both. At first, like I shared my idea on like Twitter.
Uh-huh.
So there are I have friends there who have like lots of followers. So they retweeted it. So people interested DM me, and I talked to them. And after that, I told my friends that I want to meet strangers, so they talk to their friends and everyone they know. So who will be interested will contact me, and we'll talk in
Okay.
person. Yeah,
Y- Yeah. I love it. And yeah, so I know we've said like the majority of them have been um, in your country and in person as well.
yeah. It's in person. Uh, I like the meeting people in person. Like most of the things are on our computer, and we spend so much time on social medias, which is good, but not always. So, like meeting in
Yeah,
person, add a flavor, and you will be more connected, and like it's good.
I agree. I definitely agree. And now, Hannah, you said you started January 2021, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so during that
So it's been,
time,
yeah,
yeah,
it was slow, I know.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, during that time, January of 2021, was your country, Ethiopia, was it still kind of closed down for the COVID pandemic, or were things pretty open there?
It was we use masks and everything, but it was open, kind of open. It
Okay.
was always been open, Naga.
Okay, got it. So it was still pretty easy to go and meet people in person then and everything.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
got it. Yeah, because I think that's like the interesting thing. Like when
Okay.
I started in April 2021, things were still kind of shut down here. So it really the way that I did the podcast virtually was almost because I didn't have a choice. I kind of had to because it wasn't really, yeah. So it's just interesting that like during the time when I started my podcast, I really kind of had to do things virtually because of how the pandemic was impacting things here in the States. But it's nice
Yeah.
that you were still able to meet in person and stuff, because I think, like you said, it definitely does add a different element to, the connection and getting to know someone.
Yes, yes, it is. I did that. I want to do that more, but it's nice to talk to like people like you outside of my country. So I will also do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of like there's advantages and disadvantages both ways. I think it's cool that with technology you can talk to so many different people from so many different places, but at the same time, I think it is a little, it's not as I guess maybe fun or engaging when you can't be in person.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I think you also brought up a good point, Hannah, that like nowadays with technology and social media, like we're always just so attached to that like it's nice to kind of put that aside and to actually have a in-person conversation with someone.
Yes, it does. It's cool to meet people and like to see their body language and everything. Like the atmosphere
Yeah,
is different.
definitely. And now I'm curious, when you meet the individuals in person, do you like always meet at like a restaurant or a coffee shop or a park, or like does it just depend on the person or the situation?
Yes, it depend on the person. So, but I usually meet people on like public areas,
Okay.
so like cafes and parks, something like that.
Okay.
I like a quiet place, so it's difficult to find quiet place. So without like no music and no people talking. Like there are people, but it's kind of quiet. So
Okay.
I try to find places like that and meet the people.
Got it. And I know, once you're done meeting um, with individuals, you write about their story. When you're meeting, do you like take notes or anything, or do you just like remember what everything said and then just go home and write about it later?
I don't write notes and I don't record them.
Okay.
Uh, Recording, so most of the people are not like comfortable when you record them. So I don't. And taking notes, I can't take notes while listening. So
Okay.
I can't do both at the same time.
Got it.
So I try to listen. I think I'm a good listener most of the time.
I would
So
say so.
am I?
I think you are.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So after they leave, I try to write notes about what I heard and what resonate with me. So not everything, but like some
Okay.
things. So and after I take the notes, I will like organize them and write the story. I
Okay.
sometimes add like where we meet and like the things we experience together in addition to their story.
Okay. Awesome. And
Yeah.
before,
Also, sorry.
oh, what
Uh,
were we saying?
I also meet people like we work for like with one of the girls. Uh, she is called Yarus. We walked like 5 kilometers in the morning, so we do that as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
That was good. Like walking while talking is good because like there are things you see and you can talk about that in the experience. Like and we talked to like while I was working with her, we talked to a police officer. We talked to people. Like
Okay, that's
also
awesome.
it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like I don't know, anytime I've walked and talked to someone, whether it was like talking to some like calling someone and talking on the phone, or walking like actually with someone and talking, I feel like it makes the walk a lot more fun. And you like before you know it, it's like you walked this long distance and you didn't even realize it because you're just so focused on the conversation.
Yes. Yes. It's cool. So I want to do more of that. I think.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I hope you're able to.
And hiking as well. It's good.
Yeah.
You'll be tired.
Yeah, that'd be tiring, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. So, Hannah, before you meet someone new, do you like do you prepare any questions or anything, or like how do you go about all the conversations that you have?
At first, I didn't prepare question, so I just go without patience and like try to talk when things come up.
Hmm.
But it wasn't good. Like we talk about the transport or like something current, and we don't connect kind of thing at first. So I don't have the
Okay.
experience. So I don't know what I was doing like for the first four or something people. And after that, I try to organize questions and try to ask them like with I have the questions on my phone, and that kind of feels like an interview, which is not good as we just want to have a conversation, not like interview.
Right.
So that was also bad. So after that, after that, like I have like the questions on my mind, like the general topics I want to talk to them, like about their career, their childhood, and their relationships. Or
Yeah.
so I ask them about it, like, and so it's more like natural and it's good. It's going good now.
Okay. Awesome. I love to
And
hear that.
yeah,
And I think that's kind of like a good life lesson of like you kept trying, right? Like first you
yeah,
tried without anything prepared, no questions, and then you tried, reading questions directly, and then now you found what works, where it's kind of like that mix in between of like you have questions prepared like in your mind, so like it's more conversational, um, but it's still like you're still talking about like the things that you want to learn about.
yes, yes. That's what I do. Yeah,
Great.
and it's also teach me like to listen more and like eh, it changes you when you talk to people for this time this long
Hmm.
strangers. You know how to like communicate with people who are like shy or introverts or
Yeah.
afraid to meet me or something. So like I know how to do like on different circumstance because I have been there.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
makes sense. And when it comes to talking to people, I know that you mentioned like initially without the questions, you talked about like your transportation, you talked about things like current events or other things that I would think of as like maybe you talked about like the weather outside or something.
yeah,
Like I think that's
yes,
pretty normal. Like anywhere you go, any country, any people that talk, it's like you might run into someone that you haven't seen for a while, or maybe you meet a new friend and you just talk about those really kind of surface level things like, oh, how are you doing? What's the weather like? So how can we just, to anyone listening or to you and I, how can we try to get like, I guess, deeper with our questions and conversations? Is there anything that has worked for you or that you would suggest?
I think like to me more bold and ask questions about what like uh, uh, their experience, or when you you shy away from questions sometimes to like to be not offensive or something, but
Okay.
it's good to ask permission if you want to ask that question. Is that okay if I ask you about this? You ask them that, and if they say yes, ask questions. If you are polite and curious and genuine, most of the time people are happy to answer your questions. So
Yeah,
like, yeah,
that
that's
is good advice, definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And from your experience of meeting strangers and just having conversations with them, do you feel like the individuals that you met are pretty open and willing to share, pretty personal experiences and thoughts with you as a complete stranger? Or do you feel like people are a little more maybe reserved or hesitant to really share about their childhood or personal experiences?
Surprisingly, most of them are open. I don't know
Okay.
why that is, but people are more open to talk to strangers, I guess,
Yeah.
because like you don't know them, there is no judgment, and you might not meet them again. So like you are more open when talk to friends, there are like things they know about you first, then there are things they will judge you about. But strangers, like, you don't know them, and they don't know anything, so you can tell them truthfully about everything.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think when you talk to a stranger, like they don't know you, they don't know your background, they're not going to judge you.
Yeah,
And when you're asking those questions, I think that like, and just from getting to know you, Hannah, I know that you're a very genuine person. So like it's not like you're asking, questions with bad intent or anything to the
yeah,
people you're meeting. So I think that like they can see that and like that makes them feel more comfortable being, open and honest with you.
yes, yes. So like that's what it's. I also like talk to my experiences and everything. So you, when you talk to people about yourself, like again and again and again, like you learn about yourself every but more. I think that's what I understand. So I learn about myself also more.
Okay. What's something, I guess, something big or something important that you've learned about yourself through your project?
Uh, the thing I told you about earlier, that I like, I don't understand people when they told
Okay.
me, I didn't understand people when they told me that, like, their struggles, and I almost don't believe them in some circumstances.
Yeah.
That after, like, that I realized that I do this and try to change and try to like introspect.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's that I learned.
Okay. Do you have like a favorite question that you like to ask a stranger?
Uh, Days it. I I didn't ask them this for like some time, but what's the most courageous thing you do? Eh, this is,
Oh,
yeah, it's good.
that
What's
is a
yours?
good question.
What's
What's
yours?
mine?
Yeah.
Most courageous thing I've done. That's a tough question. It's a really good question, but I have to think on that. I think I'm gonna say the most courageous thing that I've done would be changing kind of like my career path. So in college, I was kind of going like the business route. I was studying economics because it seemed practical and like I'd be able to be like a financial analyst or something. And with that you make pretty good money and have like a stable career. But I hated it and I was pretty miserable. So I always loved psychology. But everyone was saying like, oh, you're never gonna find a job getting a degree in psychology and stuff like that.
The
So
same. Yeah.
yeah, I think that
It's,
that was like the most courageous thing that I did of like not listening to maybe what people or like society was telling me to do and just like trusting that it would be okay and like doing what I actually enjoyed and liked learning about. So I think that was my most courageous thing.
yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
So
Let me
I
ask you now, what's your most courageous thing that you've done?
wow, I didn't. What did I do? Maybe leaving journalism and learning sociology.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think about. I was going to learn. I was interested on it, but after that, I changed my mind. It's like it comes to my mind just. But if I think more, I think I will find something courageous.
Okay. No, that's a good one.
Yeah,
So,
this project, Rasul, it's also a courageous thing to do, like to meet
yeah.
strangers.
It definitely is. It takes a lot of courage and just kind of confidence to do a project like you're doing. So I definitely think that's something to recognize as well.
Yeah, yeah. And plus,
Yeah.
my friends and people say that it's not safe to meet people, to meet strangers. Like you change your, they know your phone number or they might know something about you, and there are different people, so it's difficult to like trust everyone.
Hmm.
So I think I'm carried to do that.
Yeah, I would say so for sure.
Yeah.
And now, Hannah, with your project, I know you kind of mentioned like when people are opening up and sharing, like sometimes it's easier talking to a stranger because it's like, oh, well, I don't even know if I'm gonna ever see this person again or ever talk to this person again. So like it makes it a little easier with the people that you've met, have you like kept in touch with all of them, some of them? Like, do you do that, or is it just kind of like you meet them, tell their story, and that's kind of the experience?
I meet with some of them. Like, we talk to on the phone sometimes, and it's also like I'm kind of selfish, but I use them like as a connection. After that, if I need something and if I feel like they know about it or like an information or something like that, I ask them. So they are very helpful. So it's
Okay.
like one of the advantages of meeting so many people. You have like a wide range of connections
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah, from
Yeah.
different like background and everything.
Yeah, I think that that's like a really cool thing. Like even in my personal life, I noticed like someone might be like, "Oh, I need some information on this," or "I'm looking for someone that does this job," or whatever. And like I just think in my head, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, of course I know someone that does that, or I know someone that loves that, or whatever." And it's like it's because I've just like spent the time to genuinely get to know so many different people that
Yeah,
like you build those connections. And I think like I know you said like kind of selfishly, but I think it's like when you make these connections genuinely and you actually care about the conversations and the people, I don't think it's really selfish because I think like you're just getting to know people and then like, kind of utilizing that network that like you've
yeah,
built and you've grown.
yeah, and they're like happy to help you. And, like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the times it's like, well, if you ask someone and like they help you, like they probably will ask for help at some point too, and you
yeah,
probably would return the favor. So it's nice to just kind of be there for each other and to help when you can.
yes, yes. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely. So, Hannah, once you finish your project and, once you write your book about the experience and how it impacted you, I guess just like, have you thought about what comes next for you?
I don't know if it is going to be easy meeting 100 people. I might like continue doing that. I don't know what I'm going to be in my life at that time. Maybe I'll be married or with
Right.
kids. So there will be responsibilities. But I don't know. I like to continue doing this. Like it's fun talking to people and like I learn a lot. So I almost don't to like don't want to like stop it.
Okay.
I guess so.
Got it.
Like maybe the first phase of the project will be meeting these 100 people and writing the book,
Yeah.
and after that's like who knows?
Yeah. Okay, I love it.
Yeah,
I think you're keeping it kind of open-ended where, I could definitely see you continuing on and maybe like you said, like a second phase or just continuing the project, which I think is really cool.
yeah, yeah. Maybe like starting a podcast.
Yeah,
That's good.
definitely.
Great. Yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. And now do you have like I know you said that like you don't really know kind of what the future is going to look like and, are you going to stop at 100? Are you going to keep talking to people? But like, do you have, I guess, like a time frame of when you want to have met 100 people? Or are you not really like too concerned how long it takes you to get to that goal?
Uh, I want to like finish it as much like told as much as possible. But
Okay.
it's difficult to predict. Like with my work, like I have 9 to 5 job, so like I work starting from Monday to Friday.
Okay.
So it's difficult to know like and there's also like you need like money for the transportation and for coffee
Yeah.
and things like that, so it's difficult. So when I have money and when I have time I meet people, and when I don't and I'm busy i I don't meet people, so I don't know like really
Okay.
when. So but if possible, like I would love to, like if it's possible, I would love to be this my like my job, my full time job, like
Yeah.
meeting people and writing about them as a Rob Lawless. It's
Yeah.
like doing the same, I guess.
I love that. That's awesome. I mean, I appreciate you sharing that because I think it's good perspective to anyone listening that like as cool as your project sounds and like as fun as it is, like it does require a lot of
Yeah,
time and it requires money, um, and just other things that maybe people might not consider. But I appreciate you kind of sharing kind of like the behind the scenes look at it. And I think it would be
yeah,
cool to, if you could do this as like a career and a job. And I mean, I'm very similar where, I work a 9 to 5 job and everything, but I would love to, have my podcast or a different podcast or something similar where I'm talking to people about their passions, as kind of like my full-time career too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, Hannah, I know we've talked a lot about your project, and it's been a really good conversation. I am curious, just I know like you and I we've personally talked a little bit about it, but to anyone that's listening who isn't too familiar with Ethiopia, would you mind telling the listeners just a little bit about your country and just give them basic information, I guess?
Yeah, Ethiopia is it's around East Africa. It's on East Africa, so we are Africans.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was seeing a podcast last time, and when they are asked to name countries, 3 countries around the world, they said Africa has one country. So like I think I'm not sure, but there's more than 50 or more countries.
Okay.
So yeah, in us in East Africa and Ethiopia, like we are rich in culture, and we have like 3,000 years history, and
Okay.
the people are like not individualistic. We are like community oriented.
Yeah.
So there's like we are religious, and we like families, the basic institutes in like our country.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it. What is like the primary religion in Ethiopia?
I think the Christianity,
Okay.
Orthodox Christian, and as well
Okay.
of Muslims and yeah,
Okay.
and
So
but
something that,
most of our like
oh,
yeah,
what were you saying?
most of the population is religious.
Okay. Got it. And I know, Hannah, you were saying
Do
that
you
like
hear me?
I can hear you. Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay. Cool. I know that you're
yeah, I
saying that
can
like
hear.
a lot of Ethiopia is very community focused, right? Like the people are very community focused, and there's a lot. It's not individualized. Now, with that, I guess how is I'm just trying to think about like you said there's a lot of diversity here, so it's like is the community kind of like is it like different communities for different kind of backgrounds or religions or experiences, or is it just like the big community and there's just a lot of diversity within it?
Like Ethiopia is known in like for like they are Christians and Muslims,
Hmm.
and they live in peace. And so, for example, in Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia, like they are collected from every like regions in Ethiopia, from every side of the country. So there's different backgrounds of the people other
Okay.
than the ones who were born in Addis Ababa. We are also have our culture, but like we live in peace most of the time, I guess.
Okay. Awesome. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And I guess like is there something that Ethiopia is really like popular for or really known for outside of the country or I guess even within it?
Uh, I was thinking about Rastafarianism. Do you know Rastafarian? Rastaf.
The music? Is it kind of like a culture and like there's
Yeah,
music related? Okay, yeah.
it's a community, right? It's kind of a
Okay.
community. So who have like most of them have like dreads.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's right. You know dreads,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
It's in English. It's from like in Ras Tafari, which was Ethiopian's king. So
Okay, that was the king of Ethiopia.
that's the history. And also
Okay.
our calendar is 7 years back, 8 years back. We are in
Yeah, I remember you
15.
telling me that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And
you said
it's
it's
the birth. Yeah,
2000 and what is it? 15?
1 5, yeah, 15.
That's so like funny to
We have
hear.
our own calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
I
that,
think I
and
remember you
we are
said that.
also the birthplace of like coffee was found in Ethiopia for the first time.
Okay, got it.
That so
Yeah,
like
it's
we have like a different coffee ceremony. Yeah,
okay.
even our
What's
coffee like there's this ceremony around coffee, making coffee.
okay? Is that like a daily ceremony, or is it like how often of a ceremony for coffee is that?
Yeah, most of the people in Ethiopia like they drink coffee every day. Like they
Okay.
make the coffee in their home,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's like it takes like an hour or something to
Wow.
drink coffee. You drink three glass or something of coffees. The
Okay.
first one is called something abol, and the second there is a name for the three of them.
Okay. Do you like participate in the coffee ceremony yourself?
Sadly, in our house we don't drink coffee.
Okay.
When there is a guest, but we will make a coffee for them.
Okay. Got it.
But I drink, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And I guess like what is your favorite part about your culture?
What is it? Like the religious ceremonies. It's beautiful. They
Okay.
are like tourists come to Ethiopia for the ceremonies. They are religious, the celebrations, but it's also cultural. Like it's fused.
Okay. Could you like kind of like explain one of the religious ceremonies?
With my English, it's difficult to explain.
Okay.
There is there's something called mescal.
Okay.
Uh, so it's difficult to explain. Sorry.
That's okay. But the point being
Yeah,
is that like there's a lot of really cool, special religious
yeah, yeah,
ceremonies within your culture.
yeah. There is,
Okay.
and Ethiopia, like the athletes of Ethiopia, are now well known in like the world. Long
Okay.
distance, like a marathon, 10,000 meter, 5,000 meter. They
Yeah.
are known. Yeah,
Who's like
uh,
the most like famous athlete from Ethiopia?
Haile Gebrselassie is good. He's
Okay.
famous. Yeah, Haile Gebrselassie is famous, and there are also like so many athletes. Us and Kenya. You know, have you heard about Kenya?
Yes.
Yes, like Ethiopia and Kenya are well known in like athletics.
Okay. Got it. And I know you mentioned like you said like a lot of tourists come for like a lot of like the religious ceremonies. Is Ethiopia a pretty like big
Yeah,
tourist place?
it is disconnected, I guess.
Can you hear me? Hannah, can you hear me?
Zach?
Yes, can you hear me?
No, I didn't hear you. Now I am hearing you.
No, okay, you can hear me now though.
Yeah, 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 I can.
Okay, cool. I was just asking like would like is Ethiopia a pretty big place for tourists?
It is. I think it is. Uh,
Okay.
it is like a tourist destination. There are so many cultural and historical places, and like we have, I think 10 or 12 heritage which are like on UNESCO,
Okay.
which, which tourists visit.
Got it. Okay. So like if a tourist was to go to Ethiopia, like what do you think would be like the coolest thing for them to see?
Uh, if you are interested in like architecture
Yeah.
and history, there is a place called Lalibela, so they can see like the heritage around Lalibela, which is cool. The
Okay.
architecture, yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm sure like the architecture there is really cool and interesting and intricate to see. So that'd be
yeah,
awesome to see someday.
yeah, and the religious celebrations.
Okay.
Like Mescal, and there is a thing called also called Tumkat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just another one of the religious ceremonies.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Perfect. Well,
Are you
Hannah,
planning to come to Ethiopia?
nothing planned, but I would love to see the world someday. So Ethiopia will definitely have to be on my list of places to check out someday.
Will be the yes.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah, we are
Awesome.
very hospitable.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Hannah, it's been so great to talk to you and to hear
Yes.
about your project, Encounters with Hannah, and just to learn about your culture a bit and your experiences. Um, is there any like way if someone listening to the podcast wants to check out your project or anything, is there any place that they could check it out at? Hannah, are you still there? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Hannah. To anyone that's listening and maybe they want to check out your project or anything, is there a good place that they can check out Encounters with Hannah?
Yeah, they can like DM me on in Twitter.
Okay.
So if you can share that, and I can talk to them, and also on thehabesha.com. And there's a website called thehabesha.com.
Okay.
I can send you the link as well. You can say they can see my uh, writings on it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I will get that link from you and I'll get your Twitter and then I'll put that in the description of this episode. So if you want to connect with Hannah and talk to her, like she said, you can message her on Twitter and I'll also have the information so you can check out her encounters. I know that on Twitter she posts every encounter that she has and just a quick little message about it, and then with the website you'll be able to see the publications of her writings as well.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Well, Hannah, is there any like last thoughts or words that you want to tell anyone that's listening to us today?
Go out of your house and meet people. Good. Don't be on your phone 24/7. If you can, like, use the opportunity to meet people, even if like not as me planning to meet people, but strangers on your way, on your work, or on people you meet people everywhere, so you can say hi and talk to them. That's what I say.
Yeah, I think that's great
And
advice.
thank you for
Just
having me.
of course. Yeah, I think that that's great advice. Just step
Yes.
out of your comfort zone, go out and meet people, and like you don't have to be like Hannah or I guess even me, where we're kind of like intentionally talking to people or meeting people. Like you can just go to work every day and maybe while you're going to work or maybe at the cafe you stop at for breakfast or something, you can just say hi to someone that you've never talked to before or someone that you've seen a couple times but have never talked to. So you don't have to do big projects like we are to meet strangers and to just get to know people. So definitely we both encourage you to do that. And yeah, of course, Hannah, I'm glad that you're able to be on the podcast. Thank you for taking the time to be here. And thank you for
Thank
including me in
you
your
for
project
having
too.
me.
Yeah, of
Yes, yes.
course.
I was glad to have you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I'm excited to see the rest of how your project goes for you. I know you'll meet a lot of great people and tell a lot of great stories. So I'm excited to watch you and support you. And I'm excited for whenever your book comes out.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. All right, Hannah, I will talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.